folks.
I think got everybody else. We got everybody, Chair.
We're all here and we are ready to go. We are live, so you can get
Is the
started.
volume okay on your end? Can you hear us?
If you can speak a little bit louder, it'd be great, but
Okay,
we can
I'm getting
hear.
over here because I'm not sharing this.
At 95.
Okay,
There we
I'd
go.
like to call this meeting of Franklin County IDA to order. I'll ask our secretary to take roll call.
Carrie Bouye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Here,
Archie McKee is absent, Melissa Mills,
Here.
Nate Manette,
Here.
Clyde Rabidou,
here.
and Nick Russell is absent. Also present is Jeremy Evans, Paul Ellis, Rachel Karp.
Thank you, Rachel. You all have the agenda in front of you for the IDA. Would you please indicate whether or not you feel there are additions or deletions that can be made? Hearing none, we'll accept the agenda by motion. Motion to accept the agenda.
Melissa.
Melissa, second.
Second.
Second, Clyde. All in favor of accepting the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public comment, any public comment? There being none, then we'll move on to number 4, the approval of the previous meeting minutes for both November 13 and November 21, all of which you have received. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? If not, we'll take a motion to approve those minutes for both those meetings of November 13 and November 21. There being none, motion,
Thank you.
Melissa?
Yep.
Second? Second?
Second. Oh, I can't second.
Yeah, Nate got it.
Okay.
All those in favor of accepting the previous minutes of November 13, November 21, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Committee reports. Governance Committee? Nate?
Nothing to report, nope.
Nate, a little later on, we'll give you, Jeremy and I were talking today about fee structure arrangement that we have to correct, and also the possibility of doing something with our procedure for doing what we're going to do later with the branch of commercial development on authorizing them for incentives from the IDA. But
Okay.
we'll get to that later, but I thank you for that.
Sure.
The other thing is for governance committee, it's rating time. I've rated the CEO. I'm not sure, because every year we go back and forth on this. The handbook is pretty silent on it, but I don't want to do this by myself. So I think what I will do is I will share with you a copy of my evaluation of the executive director. And you in turn may either correct, add, delete, whatever you want to do as far as the evaluation, annual evaluation for our executive director. So I'll send that out. I'll send that out a little bit later on. Audit and
Perfect.
Finance Committee?
No.
There being none,
Nope.
we'll move on to the next point. Treasurer's report. Paul?
Really nothing to add, at this point. I mean, obviously, we're coming into year end. Starting preparation for the auditor, who usually comes the first week of November, so. We're just, doing year end journal entries. And
When did it
things
come?
like that.
February or January?
End of February. Yeah, or end of, beginning of February, end of January.
Looks like we had a good year all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, big part of what we've benefited from is, when we sell the property, although we might not be getting huge on paper a gain on the sale. We're certainly converting one asset for and turning it into cash. We did have between the sale of the property in Tupper Lake and the Bombay plant, I think, the report had around 57,000, over 50 in net gains. Obviously that had a big impact. As I've stated in the past, the timing of when we receive and close pilots has a big bearing too. So we did close on one pilot earlier in the year. So overall, the cash position is pretty strong.
Thank you, and I'd like to ask everybody to pay attention to the investment report, which has done it's a great service in terms of this past year. So thanks again, and thank you, Paul. CEO report. Jeremy?
So just a couple things on the IDA side, and I'll talk more on the EDC side. We are working, I'm going to be doing, we did, you recall, back in February or March, we finalized our new procedures for employee performance reviews. It's the end of the year, so they are all doing their own self-assessments, and I'm going to be meeting with everybody and doing the year-end review in next week with everybody. So it's our first run at this new process, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it, as excited as you can for something like that. And we'll see, once we get done with it, we'll see if there's any tweaks we should make. I suspect, knowing the group we have, they will not hesitate to mention anything that they think could be improved from it, and that's fine. So we'll have good discussions with everybody and follow up in the new year if there's anything we want to tweak from our new process. And then we're also working on trying to finalize, starting to look at what did we accomplish this year as compared to our 2024 strategic plan, and then thinking about what we've got for 2025. We're hoping to present a lot of that at our January meeting, as far as kind of what we think 2025 is going to look like. So that's coming up quick. I mean, it's going to be it's a quick turnaround after the holidays when our next meeting happens, just because of how things turn out. So we're trying to get a good handle on that right now, so we have something to present to the board next month. That's it.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Old business, any old business? There being none, we'll move on to new business. Resolution 2024-22, Branch Commercial Development LLC, project authorizing resolution. Do I have a motion to put it on the floor for discussion? Motion, Sherry? Second? Melissa? Okay, we're on the floor. Jeremy, can you give us a?
Yes, let me give some background and an update, because at noon today, we had the public hearing for this project. As you recall, this is we approved an initial resolution last month. The project before us is the renovation, full renovation, interior and exterior, of the Holiday Inn Express building on Route 11. And the proposed project is an investment of approximately $2.1 million, 2.18, and they are requesting a sales tax exemption that would be attributable to costs incurred during construction only. So furniture, fixtures, equipment, supplies that would otherwise be subject to sales tax during the renovation would be exempt. And again, we had the initial resolution last month. The next step is to hold a public hearing, which we did today at noon, We had 4 people in attendance, including representative from the school district and 2 from the town of Malone, including Andy Stewart and Terry McGuire. I read the requisite agenda and then shared a brief presentation on what the IDA does and what the proposed project is, and then open it up to questions. And most of their questions were related to the existing pilot that project had. So when that project was built, which we figured out to be around 2010, the IDA at the time entered into a pilot payment in lieu of tax agreement with them. I think looks like it was a 15-year pilot. It ends at the end of this year. And so we're already working with them to basically close that all out. And then in the beginning of 2025, there's no longer a pilot in effect for that property. So the folks in attendance were just asking a couple of questions about that and really didn't have any questions about the proposal on the table other than, well, when would it start? The only answer I've got to that is the springtime as far as any of the renovation. I forward everybody, one of the things that we will include with the minutes from the public hearing agenda is the cost benefit calculator, which I shared with everybody by email. But just so you're aware, because it's a renovation project, I did the cost benefit based on no new job growth. And it's simply retaining existing employment. If it was an expansion, perhaps you would see more job creation. And so a lot of the direct benefit comes from temporary construction jobs and purchases that are made within the community for the project. And then some of those intangible benefits that are not measured in that calculator that I shared is the maintenance or increase in sales tax, property tax, and occupancy tax revenues. Those are all obviously that property, because it's a lodging property, generates all 3 of those things. And we can presume that a full renovation of the building will, if not just stabilize all 3 of those revenue sources to the local communities, expand it also. However, none of that calculated in that calculator because it's kind of hard to estimate. So what I shared is simply the benefits that come from the temporary construction that's going to occur. So that's all the comments we received. We will have a transcript that will be filed away. And with that, I think that's an overview and an update, Jim. If anybody has any questions, happy to.
The only question I have is, what's our next step as a board? Have we done everything we need to do on this project as a board?
Yes, the only remaining is to consider the resolution that is on the floor.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So once we do this, that's, if it passes, we're done, or either way, it's done.
Yes,
So,
correct.
okay, very good. Any other questions?
Jim,
Yo,
Jeremy and I have had a prior discussion about this particular topic, and I'm in favor of this resolution. The principals in this company have invested heavily in Franklin County,
Right.
have stimulated the economy.
sure.
No question about this. But going forward, I'd like to see more of an objective criteria for us to rate exemptions from sales tax.
Right.
I mean, okay, this is $2.1 million. What if it's $210,000? Do we give them an exemption? These are people that have made a big investment 15 years ago. What about people that made a big investment 15 months ago? I don't think, I'm just looking for some objective criteria. I leave that in Jeremy and Paul's capable hands, and that's all I got to say.
Oh, thank you.
Going forward.
Thank you.
We think we should have that.
Yeah, that's great, thank you. And that's part of what we're doing is, we have, and this is probably a sidestep from this particular discussion. What Clyde raises is a good question, and it reflects back on the fact that there are lots of things that we, in our growing pains, have to revisit as an organization. One of the things I think is evaluations and salary. One of the questions I have, of course, being in a school district, you always knew what the salary impact was going to be next year and the year after, or next year and the year after and the year after that. We have these agreements among our staff and the board as to what their salaries will be and so on and so forth. So I guess one of the things that I want to put on the governance committee, and I hate like heck to do this, but I know you're busy with everything else going on, Nate and the rest of you. It's going to be to come up with at least discussion points and decisions on some of the things that we may want to visit. One is salary and salary steps, or how do we rationalize next year's salary so that we know what we know what we're paying, and two, they know what they're getting. And the other one is the point that Clyde just raised about some rational decision about how we're going to set up a process for doing these project authorizations. So,
In both of
any
those
further questions?
instances,
Oh,
we
Clyde,
will,
sorry,
we're
Jerry.
going to, in both of
Sorry.
those, in both of those instances, we're going to do some work and then come back with some recommendations to the board and or to the first one with the governance committee.
Right,
So
right,
we're on it.
great. Any further discussion? There being none, we'll assume the motion's been moved, and we'll ask Rachel to take a roll call vote on resolution 2024-22, the Branch Commercial Development LLC project.
Terry Bouye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes?
Archie McKee is absent, Melissa Mills,
Yes.
Nate Manette,
I abstain.
Clyde Rabideau,
Yes.
Nick Russell is absent.
Thank you, Rachel. Now, I'd like a motion, since I'm chairing the meeting, but I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss employee remuneration and other matters that may pertain to employees.
So moved.
Moved by Clyde Rabideau. Second? Second by Sherry. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Kelly?
You set up, yeah.
Paper. I was at a meeting. She saw
So-
me flashing.
You might be able to just push a button on the screen in a minute, Jim, but if not, you go ask Kelly to help. But just hold on. Yeah, and then we've got to join it too.
You see what I got on my screen?
Join, yep.
What the hell's going on out there?
Jeremy?
Let's see. Join the breakout room, yes.
I think all I had to do was punch that join the thing there.
He's not interested after hearing us. That's funny. Good thing he wasn't in that meeting. That's hilarious, sorry.
I too.
Me too, I'm done.
Tis the season.
I'll get on the treadmill,
Beard back.
walk and read.
Back.
Okay?
Yep.
All right,
What's that?
we're out of executive session. Indication, please, for the record that we took no decision of any sort. Public comment. Any public comment on this portion of the IDA meeting?
No, we left.
There being none, we'll assume that we're ready to adjourn. Date of next meeting was January 8th, 2024. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Okay. Now, I'd like to call this meeting to order of the EDC.
I gotta go renew my driver's
We gotta-
license.
What?
Gotta renew my driver's
Whole thing for a minute.
I can't hear